Boom. And now all of us are here and live. Hello and welcome once again to Wandering Monster, the Monster Manual of Podcast. My name is John Baltusberger.
I'm Charles R. Bernard.
Ian Servas.
Mr. Patchke.
And I have been reading a lot of books from Free League Publishing. They're a lovely... They make quality shit, my guy.
Friend of the stream,
my lady,
yeah.
and my non-binary friends. Mork Borg is Free League. Vaesen is Free League. The Alien RPG, which is what I've been digging into lately, is Free League. One Ring is Free League. And what we're doing tonight is Free League.
And I think they've also picked up the licenses for Terminator and maybe RoboCop.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Blade Runner. Here's the thing. They make really great books. They're high quality. The art's fantastic. You can tune into the wanmon.cast blog where I review all these products and kind of see and hear more there. But I say all that to intro us into we're doing something that feels very Morky Borky tonight. When I first saw it, I assumed it was a Mork Borg product, but I was wrong. Same publisher, different developer, essentially. Different writers and designers. It is Death in Space, which is a gorgeous sci-fi setting. And again, when it is set in a decaying universe. Everything is awful, and we are all dying slowly. It feels very Mork Borg.
The beauty of decay.
It feels a little too close to home, in my opinion. But here we is. Ian, I have to prepare myself, body and soul, to take in the role I am taking in. Why don't you tell us a little about Death in Space?
Sure thing. So if you are a fan of Mork Borg and Cyborg and such, this will be very familiar. It is a 4-stat system. So it plays very similar in certain aspects to that kind of tradition, but it takes it and puts a different spin on it. The Grimdark isn't as, let's say, overtly grim as in Vast Grim, and it is not quite a space opera. It kind of skirts the line of being hard sci-fi, and some people might say, isn't the sci-fi RPG market right now maybe a little saturated by similar games? But I would say that each of these occupies its own swim lane of lore and content. So unlike some of the other space games that are out now and very popular, what makes this unique is that the conflict is mostly human on human, and there's an emphasis on blue-collar people. So none of the players are very powerful Marines with giant guns per se and lots of techno wizardry. You're all just everyday space grunts trying to survive the inevitable collapse of the universe. That being said,
again, a little too close to home,
right? But there are some things that lurk in the dark recesses of space, and there are strange things that hunger in the void. So there is cosmic weirdness and horror, but it's not necessarily always overt in this. Gives you that toolbox so you can have your monster of the week, or you can have the fantastic strange horror, or you can have it just be people grinding and trying to do jobs and pay off horrible debts, which is what the intro module in the book is for. Today we're going to take it a little bit more in the direction of the fantastical and weird, since that is part of our brand identity.
Hell yeah.
But definitely worth picking up and adding your collection. Different from Mothership, different than Alien, different than other things, so it has its own little unique flavor.
I would like to give everyone a hint as to who I'm playing tonight.
That was a turn I did not expect when I wrote that pre-gen.
He's cold? I don't understand.
I am
Alright.
cold.
His
Actually, I
organs
live
are
in
wibbly
Texas, and this
wobbly.
will kill me. This will literally kill me if I keep that on.
Why do you even have that?
Because my aunt, who lives in Washington,
Ah.
loves knitting everyone's scarves and then coming to Texas during Hanukkah and handing them out to her bewildered relatives.
Well,
Okay.
loving tribute. She will be pleased to see her work displayed on such a fine platform as this one.
Apparently, I say the word "fuck" a little too much for my family.
Well, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I feel like that's fucking weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking A.
People who swear are more trustworthy. They've
My
done
mom always
studies.
confronts me on that when my grandmother is around.
Yeah. I don't know. When my grandparents were still with us, I tried not to swear around them too much, but they were hard drinking folks, so
Apparently, and this is for all of our listeners, apparently there's some way that your grandparents can accidentally subscribe to your Twitter feed where they get emails that just give them a little bit like a first caption.
Oh, shit.
And so if you follow One Modcast or Kaiju Poet or Vorpal, if you follow any of us on Twitter, you probably know the occasional F-bomb doth droppeth.
I'm family friendly.
Not for me though.
Not. It depends on what. Yeah, he's Manson family friendly.
Yeah. As am I.
And my parents call me every week to wish me good luck on my blog. So,
my folks are like relatively tech savvy. They just mainly stick to Facebook, as like 80% of planet Earth does. So
my mom is terrified of all things horror, and so refuses to peek her head into my Go Strange Little World. Do you want me to move this over to the game room?
why don't we?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binary friends who have felt excluded by the previous accolades, welcome to Wandering Monster.
Happy Pride, y'all.
Happy Pride,
Yay.
yo!
Well, speaking of having pride in one's identity, what identities are you representing this evening for our game?
Oh, what the hell? Just like usual, I suppose I'll start. I'll be playing Bowie's son, aka Plant Boy. And Bowie's son is a green thumb, kind of rebellious, punk aligned person who was part of the previous galactic war and was naturally on the losing side, as punks so often are. And that's me in a nutshell.
Hello. I am Ichiro Wiz. It is good to be here with you all. I am a somewhat robotic person with organic CPU, mostly organic organs, and it is good to be here. I was on the winning side of the war as well, so take that, Bernard. One.
Yeah. Chalk one up for you.
So, as an explain, I was just going to pop in and just mention. So, everyone plays human characters, but everyone may play a different origin that makes them a little bit more or less human than others. So, the Wiz here has the background of Chrome, which are ancient AIs that are placed in the bodily vessels of organic material. So, they're part machine, but with organic CPU and a distributed neural system that requires oxygen, making them very human-esque. Still a lot of room of interpretation about what is flesh, what is metal, and what the nature of the soul is, but we'll get into that.
My character sheet said that I had a chassis, though, which is why I assumed that not all of my organs were actually, like, organic.
Yeah, I like the concept of you having kind of a quasi-Baroque chassis meat thing, so feel free
human
to
arms, human
you
head, human legs, Bender from Futurama's body.
There you go. Works for me.
I am Dr. Cal Grozzo. I just woke up, And I don't mean I mean I just woke up from a nap. For me, I've been asleep for 76 years, I believe this time. Uh I am of a order of scientists. Some call us cultists, although I feel that's a little bit of a loaded term. Is someone who worships unseen numeric deities that hibernate in the deep, cold void and whisper the truths of the universe only through imaginary numbers. A cultist? No, that's a
Hell no.
scientist,
Mhm.
of which I am. However, my specific um, speciality, not sect, uh, we hibernate between cosmic events so that we can view events that are sometimes hundreds of years apart. Um, I had no idea there was a war until I woke up and met these two fine, fine shipmates who were probably plumb surprised to find me aboard their ship, asking them which century I was and if I had missed the Quaranine explosive event.
I assumed you was sleeping it off. Who among us?
I was sleeping
24
off the
hours goes
Quaranine event for
by.
sure.
Yeah.
So the three of you are your basics interstellar blue collar grunts, with the exception of course, the good doctor here, which kind of occupies his own section of the space time continuum. But at least the two of you, Dr. Excluded, have incurred a pretty steep and heavy debt for, what was it that you said? Stealing the spaceship? Or
Hey, borrowing without permission.
borrowing without permission. So this is a pretty raggedy, beat-up ship that you thought that no one would quite miss if it was misplaced. You see that there's been some pretty shoddy hull repair jobs here and there. The engines over questionable retrofit of some kind, and it looks like there was some type of impact damage done to the side with the name of the ship. Something's Revenge. It started with like a B name, and all like the scuffing the hull. You've repainted it. Did you say there's Binky's Revenge? Was
Correct.
that the?
The Binky's
So-
Revenge.
With a very hastily drawn clown on, that ceramic paint that can survive atmospheric
Hell
re-entry.
yeah.
One of the most unique things, of course, that maybe is or not surprising to you, Doctor, you'll have to tell us if this was here last time you surfaced. Was that phosphorescent green mold everywhere on the interior of the hull? Is that new?
So here's the thing. I'm not saying that I was studying it and brought it aboard from an alien planet. However, I am saying that 4 sleep cycles ago, it was a petri dish. And now it's everywhere. And I don't know why. I do know that ownership and things like names kind of become transient and meaningless. Like when I wake up again, they're going to be dead. What do I care if they stole the ship? It's all good, baby. It's all groovy.
My kind of attitude. Wish you hadn't infested it with the phosphorescent. Hey, here's a really, really stupid, dumb guy question. Is mold a plant?
Yes. Well, kind of.
Yeah, see what I mean?
It's kind of in the fungal kingdom, which is its own category, has its own
It
is-
behavior and
so
things. It's
it's
very
a-
plant-esque.
It's a fungus, and in so much that fungus are kind of considered plants, yes. However, it's not actually, like, scientifically speaking, you wouldn't classify plants and fungi as the same thing.
Yeah, fun fact about mushrooms and grilling actually is they hold their moisture better than animal meat or vegetable matter
I love
because
mushrooms so much.
yeah, their
look,
cell
dude,
structure is like
we could turn this
uniquely
podcast into a
durable.
mushroom and pickle cast
We could
very
yeah.
easily. So, Ian, please rescue us from ourselves.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, as also for people who are new to Death in Space, there is a very, very lightweight, nimble ship mechanic system for doing interstellar exploration and combat. So, the cruise ship actually in a campaign would have a pretty significant effect because you start with a spaceship or a space, more like a little station itself that has its own little pods and modules and things. One of the other things that makes this different than Cyborg and from Mork Borg is that I mentioned a little bit earlier that there is the warp or the void that kind of insinuates itself. The difficulty is pretty high in this game. Just looking at the equipment and how everything is decaying, things break down. There is one buffer that you have that comes with a cost, and that's void points. So whenever you make an ability roll or basically an action check of some kind, if you fail it, then you get a void point, and you have a maximum of up to 4 points, and you can burn these to get advantage on a roll. But if you still fail that roll, then you're basically invoking the void, and it might seep into you and corrupt you. So
That's one of my favorite tables that I read, by the way.
I've been a bit corrupted. I just want to add real quick for people that if you're listening to this and you think this game sounds cool, A, it is. B, if you like spaceships, there's a space. This is actually, hand to God, one of the reasons I bought the game. I pre-ordered it. There's a spaceship generator that you can create thousands, maybe millions of different spaceships, bespoke spaceships, to sail around in, and that's awesome. Insanely cool. Very sorry to interrupt, Ian. Please continue.
That's fine. And before we get started, to give credit where credit is due, we are going to be playing a third-party module produced from an itch.io jam. So we are going to be playing the adventure Vessel 314 by Martin Shackelberg.
Thank you, Martin.
So support your independent creators and all those jams on itch. So away we go. So we find ourselves in media res with our crew here, very ragtag, high debts, low rations, low equipment, needing some form of quick cash, aka hollows in this game, to pay off their debt, which comes with the promise of, what was that, gross dismemberment, or is it regular dismemberment if not returning the ship? Something pretty...
I think they called it disgusting dismemberment, which is worse than gross dismemberment.
Oh.
So, incentive to pay off your debt. So, when you are passing through various occupied areas of space, you are trawling through the contract feed that gives you different jobs of various ranges of difficulty and lethality for exchange for a handful of hollows. So you pick up a hail that doesn't seem to have been taken by other contractors, as it were, from Tanaka Free Enterprises. Something about a mining operation gone wrong and needing some type of rescue.
What's the carrying capacity of our stately vessel before we think about what to do about this?
How much stuff you can take, or you're talking
how many people could we conceivably stick in there if we do rescue them?
So if you are looking at how many beds you have, you've got bunks for about 12 people, but you can cram people into your small little mess hall, which is just kind of like a glorified meeting chamber / eating room. You could stack people very uncomfortably for a short amount of time.
Okay, cool. Well, Wiz, what do you think?
I think that maybe we should help them.
Yeah, let's go check out the. We should Rip Van Winkle over here. Do you?
I understand that reference.
Do you get a say in this? I'm not sure you do. You're kind of a.
I'm here. I will be in the lab doing studies. If some.
The lab is also the mess hall, just when he puts his equipment all over the tables you're trying to eat.
If some opportunity for further study or observation comes up, I will gladly take part. And, no, look, pretend I'm not even here. he says as he puts a beaker of bubbling acid like into your mashed potatoes.
Okay.
Not even here.
Digging it. All right, let's
It
go
does
check
that,
out
like-
that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it makes that boiled carbon thing when you pour like hydrochloric acid into sucrose, and it just makes like the snake.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It does that, but it's mashed potatoes, so you
That
have like
is
this
still
goopy,
edible.
crumbling. I don't know how if you're going to convince the crew to actually eat this thing you've just made.
I
I
am
mean-
offended at the thought that I would do anything to endanger. I'm sorry. What were your names again?
Bowie, but you can call me Plant Boy. And I was
Plant
gonna
Boy
say,
and Plant
Wait.
Boy and Sentient Meat Sack.
Wiz, prefer
Wiz,
it doubly.
that's right.
I've eaten much worse in my time as a deserter from the Great War, trying to sneak my way, out of danger. So not a problem. All right, let's go check out that signal and see what's up. Oh, is there any sort of like boon or bounty on this, or is it just help us?
So if you kind of download the data feed to get more information on this, so it originates from some type of mid-level manager of Tanaka Free Enterprises by a Marshall Helm, as the identifier goes from the data cache. The initial terms seem pretty straightforward and on the level. So you have a hefty sum of hollows in exchange for investigating sounds like a bad, like there's transmissions have stopped at an ice mining operation on an asteroid in an asteroid belt. There was some type of some recent discovery, like there were some things recently uncovered in the ice, a large ice haul, and then all transmissions just stopped. So there is worry of potentially some type of mutiny with the crew, or there perhaps was one of like a cosmic debris shower that this damaged the comm relays. It's exactly clear what happened, but it needs to reestablish if they can make their ice haul in time for the quarterly projections and recover the crew if there is some type of catastrophe that's happened.
Sounds about right. All right, I'm in. Wiz.
It seems to be the only correct course of action.
Yeah. So I guess we kick 314 or whatever this. Oh no, I'm sorry. Whose revenge is it?
Binky's
Binky's revenge. I suppose we kick Binky's revenge into, its choking, sputtering, fume billowing high gear and make our way, because there's sound in space, and make our way towards that place.
Sounds like a capital idea. On the way to your destination, since your 4 stats are body, dexterity, savvy, and tech, are you wanting to prep any equipment, do any investigating to the nature of this company, or the area of the Tenebris system that you're going, or...
Absolutely. Yeah, since I've got like a high tech score and my guy has a basic engineering kit in his inventory, which allows me to hook like a tablet computer. I'm going to see if I can hacksaw my way into that Tanaka 3 or whatever it is, and figure out more about like what they were mining for, if there's any information on the disaster, etc.
Go ahead and make me a tech thing to see if you can't trace that data package where it came from, see if you can't bypass their security.
Is that's a D20, correct?
That's going to be D20, and the default difficulty, just like in Mork Borg, is going to be at least 12 or higher.
Okay.
And you add your stat as your bonus to see.
Fuck. That's a nat 1.
So when you plug in your data cable, it sparks, and you have this dissonant, this cascade of just bad garbage code that just pours out. And it's offensively bad. In fact, like the Wiz probably winces from another room. So you gain your first point, your first void point of 4 that you can use in the future. Keep
Excellent.
in mind, if you fail when you use your void points is when you start courting disaster. Anybody else want to do precursor actions?
Yeah, so you would hear from like behind you, this is why your side lost the war.
I'm gonna find it interesting when you find that Pauly Shore voice modulator and pop that back in.
I ever since the doctor woke up, we have not been able to find that, and the juice
May
has just
have
not
hidden
been
it.
squeezed in long
John
time.
may have
The
hidden
doctor
it.
hid that and the snarf
Yeah.
voice actuator.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
And the snarf voice actuator. Excellent.
Now, being a robot type guy, I believe I saw a thing that I have an easier time communicating with computers. Are we within range for me to do that, or no?
So you're wanting to communicate with the computer of the ship,
Uh,
or
are we in range to talk to the other ship? Since I could just
so you have quite some time before you get in range of this asteroid. So if you want to do that
Okay.
once you start closing in and seeing what you might be able to communicate with, then we can adjudicate that. But we're handling this right now from a distance, just since there will be things in play.
I'll go try to sleep off my probable neural damage from my Nat 1 roll of hacking.
I am testing. I am going around the ship, looking in all the nooks and crannies for any place where I have hidden an experiment in the past, and seeing how they've fared over the last 75 years.
So a lot of your hidden things have been, squirreled away or have disappeared. But go ahead and roll me 1d20.
That human baby that you were experimenting on got wrinkly and weird looking as fuck.
3.
A 3. So you find, most of your things are gone, but locked and behind a panel in the engine room, you find one of your prized possessions, which is a what looks to be glass box, but the corners have metal brackets holding something very dark and swirling in it. It's an ancient wormhole.
Nice.
You still haven't figured out what's on the other side, but you know it's something important.
I'm hoping I'll actually get to the other side. I'll wake up on the other side at one point, and I'll be able to reach out and touch myself, like pat myself on the back for a job well done. Quick question, and I'll roll if I need to. Has the phosphorus mold gained sentience yet?
No, not that you
Okay.
think, or at least not that it's told you.
Okay, I've been talking to it when they're not, when I think they're not paying attention.
I might have a word with it at some point, but we'll see about that.
All right. So after a significant amount of time, a montage of space travel's amount of time, you're able to follow the space lanes to where this asteroid is supposed to be. It's a fairly large-sized ice asteroid, or at least mostly completely covered in a very deep blue ice. From the initial report, there's high amounts of nitrates and methanes and ammonias of different kinds that are trapped in the ice that are being mined to make various crude products to make fuels and other types of industrial products, solvents and whatnots. So you can see as you home in your picked viewer that there is a large space freighter that's on the surface of this asteroid, and various amounts of distance from it, there are 3 different smaller vessels that look to be like ice borers that mine the ice and then haul it back. So now's kind of a time where if you wanted to try to remotely hack in with your ability whiz. That could be something that you can try. Generally, you use that when you're up and close and personal, that you can be more tactile, but I don't see a reason why you couldn't figure out how to patch yourself in at a distance.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, earlier I thought we had already... Yeah, anyhow. That is a natural 20.
Nice.
For me to, like, get on the Wi-Fi, plug in. Hello. We are here if you need help.
So so let me just clarify, because you have your Origins ability that you can use, which is your native machine, which is your native machine ability, which is you can converse with computers if they're real people, plug it in and find a friend. Or are you doing a more general? You're hailing on all frequencies to all the ships below.
Oh no, I'm just talking to just their computer. Sorry.
So I assume you're using native machine. I want to make sure before I tell you the consequence.
Yeah, why would I talk to their people?
Okay, well you get to pick one machine at a time then. So which
there's the three
so you've got
small ships and then the freighter, right?
The mothership, as it were.
Okay. So you patch in and you can tell that your connection to the ship should be broken. You can actually see, the closer you're getting, that the main comm relay looks to be snapped in the middle of the main shaft. But you're starting to get some of that weird bad data that you heard earlier when Plant Boy tried to jack in. It seems to have some type of very weird patterns in it that you can't quite figure out. It's almost like the code itself is almost like breathing or undulating like a sea. And it has some type of crackling resonance in response to your hail, but nothing on the other side is communicating intelligibly.
Well, that is odd. Can I go ahead and try to talk to the mole miney ice ships, the small guys?
Sure. So there are 3 of these, and none of them seem to be operational. From a distance, you can see the lights off or off on 2 of them, and 1 is pretty dim.
Well, let's talk.
Is there any light coming from the freighter?
You see that there are some red lights around the doors. So there seem to be a set of access doors that are on the west side of the middle of the broad side of the ship. But then there are also red lights towards hangar bay doors. So looking at this, there are 4 hangar on the ship, 2 on each side near the rear, near where the engine compartment is. Other than that, the ship itself seems to be dark.
Okay. Well, we've got a scientist here, although a sleepy one.
A doctor scientist.
Yeah. Doc, what do you have any particular thoughts on this? Like, can you, for example, tell us what they might have been, mining for and run into? Is there any sort of like native Xenos that lives under ice and nitrogen or whatever?
Just to make sure we're on the same page, friend Plant Boy, you want to know if, in a area of space I've never been to and haven't studied, if there is any indigenous Xenos living under the ice of these particular rocks, and what they might have been mining and run into, with no knowledge of this area of space. Why not?
I mean, when you put it that way, it makes me sound like an asshole.
It's a perfectly reasonable request.
Roll me a savvy.
Yeah. Better than it should be. It's an 8.
What's your? Do you have a modifier on savvy?
That's what's the modifier.
Oh, okay.
Well, the only thing you can really think of, which is the obvious thing, which would be the giant whales that live under the ice crust in Ogre, which is one of the larger planets. But
are you familiar with archaic folklore of the human species?
More so than most.
Negative.
There was once a legend passed down through, I don't know, probably verbally. Ancient man was very basic, of a creature that would take over the bodies and mutate people that lived under the ice. Perhaps it's something like that.
Could be.
They
I
called
think
it the Thing, I think, although that might have been the
Yeah,
Jewish rock monster.
it was from the Book of Carpenter, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fuck it. So do you guys feel like approaching the main vessel or the slightly lit up smaller vessel?
You're only living once.
If I would go just like, can we buzz the smaller vessel and like shine our lights in, see if there's anything in there? Like, if we
Put
don't
tape on
need,
the windshield and pull it down.
yeah.
Well, since you're a larger spacecraft coming across a smaller ice thing, so imagine that one of these little ice drilling machines is almost kind of the equivalent of like a large space version of like a cat general work machine. You know, you can change out the front if you want it to be more like a backhoe, if you want it to be more of a shovel or a drill, and it has a hitch in the back. So there's just enough of a space to have like a small crew compartment and this. So it would either be more, in this case, either park your ship down on the ice and hoof it over, or park your ship in one of the hangars.
So, question about that. Like, I didn't see any Atmo gear in my inventory. Is there an atmosphere on this planet, or excuse me, asteroid, or?
The atmosphere would require some type of environmental suit, if anything, just for the biting cold and the higher amounts of nitrogen and ammonia gases. But I would assume the equipment in the book isn't exactly always clear. If you have like a heavy suit, that could be one of the things you can start with. I will assume that you have some type of minor void suits that would just come standard with a ship. And
Gotcha.
if not standard, we'll add it to that debt for that disgusting dismemberment.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Well, do you guys want to park on the perimeter and hoof it so that we can maybe get a look at these people before they're up close and personal? I know I'd prefer my ranged attack to my melee.
I'm quite curious as to what murdered them and will try to murder us.
Yeah. I'm very excited about that thing slithering toward me. I can't wait to see its face.
You guys
Okay.
noticed that that Cow has a small square briefcase with him.
Are you taking the wormhole?
Yeah, I am.
Fuck yeah. Just, last resort? Sure.
I want you to know that Ian, figuring out how to have fun with it is my problem. Figuring out what it happens is your problem.
Oh,
It's
more
my
of
gift
just
to
like
you.
I'm like more of like, man, this is what happens when I roll on a random chart. Like this could be one of those game breaking things where it's like, oh,
Me and
Don't
random
give it
charts tend
away.
to be kind
Don't
of
give it away.
cavity.
I loved the table that I read. I can't wait to. There was some really fun stuff on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What a great game.
absolutely. So sounds like that. Are you all in cahoots that you're parking your ship? Sound like a safe distance away from the big ship and this hoofing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
sounds smart to me.
imagining that there's not a lot around except for those ships. No, like big hills of ice or whatever. So visibility should be pretty good.
So just real quick, how long of a walk is it going to be from where we're going to park our ship to their ship?
That's up to you. You need to make sure you've got suitable clearance for your thrusters because
That's a very Charles Bernard in real life question, by the way.
if everything on there has gone to shit, like one would assume, and we need to just get out of there and leave, parking our ship 20-minute hike away is not a good idea.
A good point. I say we park close enough that it won't blow anything up, but close enough that we can, get out of there in a hurry if we need to.
So you park kind of not quite in the back of the parking lot worth of walking with too many groceries, but
Okay.
somewhere in between where you're not too close and not too far.
Good.
So,
Perfect.
are we worried about our car getting dented? I think is ultimately.
I love that we're parking instead of landing. That's great. Like next time a space shuttle comes back, I'm going to talk about it parking.
Yeah.
So you land your ship, and you feel a little bit your ship slip a little bit until you have a nice grip on the ice. You quickly melt from your landers touching down, and then you feel it refreeze and kind of holds you in place.
Mm.
When you after you don your light void suits, you can feel it's pretty damn cold out here. There is a very thin atmosphere, but the wind is enough to really make it bite at your joints in your ship. So you can see that you're about equidistant from two of those little utility machines with the drills on the front and hoppers in the back for ice chunks. You have one that has a light, like very dim interior lights, that's more towards your south, and you've got the other one that's dark to your north. The other little machine is on the opposite side of the freighter, pretty far from you. You're also, I'm going to say, parked. On the west side of the ships, you can see with the freighter that midway towards in the hole, there is a secondary access beyond the hangar door entrances as well. You still see like the red emergency lights.
Do you guys want to split up or stay together?
Stay together. Well, I believe that for my purposes, I'll be able to observe the most if I'm not constantly worrying that something's sneaking up behind me. It would be much better if we were stayed together. We can watch each other's sixes, if you will.
Okay. All right. So I'm not thinking we're gonna see much except for maybe a macabre hint in the dimly lit lander. So I don't know. I'm all for sticking together and making for that hatchway that's not the you said it was like an auxiliary door past the yeah. What do you guys feel about headed there?
My knee-jerk reaction is to go check the dimly lit thing. So I'm thinking the exact opposite of you.
Okay.
I don't know how strongly I'm feeling that though.
Wiz, do me a favor and roll me D6.
D6. That is a 5.
So the long range comm that you tried to hail the freighter wasn't breaking. You couldn't. It seemed to be broken. You weren't able to make a connection. But with that natural 20 you had earlier, you're able to pick up the short wave frequencies that are coming off since you're more proximal to the freighter. With that, you start to hear voices filter in on just your shortwave radio system, and it sounds like there are two different voices almost speaking at once, a crew member that's like begging for it to be rescued, almost impersonally, just like talking into the radio, while another voice that sounds quite similar is saying, "Don't approach, turn around and leave." The others don't hear that.
Oh, by the way, did you know their comm channels have 2 distinct voices?
Really? And yeah, go on.
There is one that likes us to come help, and another that is telling us to leave.
Well, we've come this far. It's good to know that we need to be on our toes. But I don't know. I don't think we should just bounce. That's good. That's good information, though.
We are already here, after
Mhm.
all.
True. Yeah. Let's. Do I like? Nah, never mind. We'll deal with that when we get there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Let's head for the hatch.
Real quick. Now that we're here on the planet, could I tap into the shortwave?
Yeah, well, you are receiving it, so you're wanting to really kind of tap in and.
Could I send?
Sure.
Hello, whoever you are.
Roll me a tech, will ya?
That's a 20.
Tech check.
To roll, and the tech was +1, 13.
So
Which is a pass, I guess.
you tap into the shortwave to talk to the computer, like the computer system, or are you talking to the people?
I would be talking to, like, I heard the people, so I would talk to the people.
All right, so you tap in and you find a channel that it seems to be less staticky than the others, and you hear a third voice, unlike the other first two, that's very guttural and hails you. Like the voice is a little bit stulting and says, "We have an engine failure. Need assistance to help evac."
So, like, just to break in real quick, I rewatched Return of the Living Dead, 80s classic, the other night.
It's good.
And this makes me think of, like, send more paramedics. Yeah.
Classic movie.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
All right, so we're going to regret this. Is yeah.
I don't know. It depends on how like durable whatever this is. Doc, do you have any thoughts?
Many, but none that are going to be helpful in this situation, my friend.
Fuck it, let's go. Well, let's breach that door.
Okay, can we ask him how many people are on the ship? The standard, like, any pertinent information Grunty McGee would be willing to share with us?
Grunty McGee.
The crew from the icebreakers are here. Most are okay. Some died, but the most are okay.
Do they sound like me? Are they another robot guy?
You get a lot of distortion. It sounds very organic.
Okay.
Gross.
I know. Organics are gross. Not
It's
a
true.
fan.
It sounds like someone that had like a really bad, like someone's topical. Someone has a case of like moderate to severe COVID, and you hear that kind of gurgling in the lungs. So, all right.
Okay.
So the three of you, what are you doing? It's cold out here, and the longer you are out here, the more your toes are starting to go numb.
Yeah, I say we make for the hatch, and if it's too hairy, we'll extract ourselves, and if not, then we'll, do what needs to be done and see what happens.
There's a layer of like hoarfrost across the door. So either someone make a body check to force your way in, unless you think that you can figure
Can I use
out
my plasma melter?
Absolutely, give yourself advantage on that.
Okay. That's a D20, right?
That is correct. Except for damage and random rolls, D20 is going to be king in this.
Nice. Oh, that is so fucked up. That's another nat 1. Hang on. I'm going to re-roll to see if this goddamn thing needs to be
Even with
refreshed
advantage?
every time. Yeah, well, it was a nat 1. Hang on.
Well, you roll twice for advantage.
Well, he's using an automatic die roller that sometimes
yeah.
I've had them hiccup where...
I just never trust those things.
Well, yeah, because like the second time...
To be fair, most of the time when I'm rolling your pre-gens, because I have to roll like massive amount of dice, I do use online dice rollers for that. But
Yeah, so like I definitely passed. That's a 16 even without advantage. So
all right, so you take the time to very carefully melt away the frost, and you are able to enter. I mean, without that's not going to make a lot of noise, unlike someone slamming at the door. So you're able to open this door without making a whole lot of noise. So you open the door and you see that there is emergency lighting still illuminating everything in a blood red glare. You have a large, wide hallway that seems to connect a series of doors on the left and right. So if we think about this freighter as a elongated rectangle, you're in the section in the middle here of a long corridor, doors on on both your sides of various different sizes and position, a staircase towards the north leading up to where the command hatch and cockpit is for this freighter, and much larger doors in the rear leading to where those hangar bays were, and presumably like the engine room. You can see that there are signs above the doors if you want to see where this is leading. Predominantly, there's a smells like the life support fans haven't been running regularly because the air is very thick and humid, and there's a smell of decay in the air. You see signs of some kind of struggle in this main corridor, some slicks on the floor from where there was some type of material or fluid that was leaked.
excellent.
But other than that, it's pretty quiet in here except for just the hum and thrum of the very most basic life support systems.
I am going to see if I can repair the life support systems and get them functioning properly.
Okay. So those modules would be found. You would probably have a secondary access panel in the security room, which is right next to where you started, because you see the sign that's above you that says security.
I'd say that's a good place to start in general. So yeah, do you guys want to go see what's in the security room?
Oh boy, do I.
I think that sounds like a fantastic idea, actually.
Yeah. Hopefully it's some security. All right. So
Oh, I doubt it, but it will be fun.
It will be. All right,
Maybe
let's
there will be guns.
yeah, see? Cuz yeah, anyway, let's go do that. Is the security door locked or can we just like gently open it?
It seems slightly ajar.
Can we peek through?
Yeah, sure. It's dark beyond there. You see that there is like staticky monitors giving a little bit of a fuzzy white glow that clashes with that red glow, but hard to see in otherwise.
Fuck it. Let's go in and I'm going to do the life support systems first. I think I don't know. Wiz is pretty techy too, but like I've got a pretty strong tech advantage. So I'm thinking I'm going to repair the life support and then see if I can get the security screens working.
Okay. So when you enter into this space, I'm assuming someone has a light source they want to crack, or are you going to be working are you going to be intentionally working in darkness?
No, I don't think it's in my inventory, but I would assume part of the like enviro suit kit would be like
have
flares
some
or something.
headlight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you put your lumens in this room, you see that it looks like someone has tampered with the life support system. The panel itself looks like it's been smashed with a blunt instrument or maybe like a really desperate fist. The weapon cabinet against the wall is ajar, and most of the contents look to be missing. And it also looks like the security system has the wires snipped to the bay of like six monitoring, like six monitors.
Oh,
So,
snipped wire ought to be pretty easy to fix.
well, if you want to fix that instead of life support,
No, we like life support seems more important. Do I need to gather components or anything to repair the smash panel?
So, go ahead and do me a diagnostic. Make me a tech check.
Okay.
But yes, so
And
for people who are new to Death in Space, you do use components to repair things. So you have components that are repair large things and components that repair small things.
I
which
don't
is
think
in
it's the
keeping with
site.
the which is in keeping with the idea that the universe is decaying. It shouldn't be super easy to fix things. You might have to
Especially
cannibalize
not
something to fix something else.
especially not when you roll in that one.
Bruv,
Again?
I know. That's 2 points of
are you trying to one up me from last week?
So when you access the panel, you see that there's been so much damage to the circuits that you have a feeling you could probably easily fix this as quickly as apparent that you make it worse. So it is going to require the use of two components to fix the panel. The snip wire looks pretty simple enough. You really can't screw up resplicing some wire. So if one of the other of you want to try fixing the monitors, you're more than welcome to.
I was
Make
curious.
sure you give yourself an extra void point. You're up to like what?
Yep.
Like two
Two.
void points.
Yeah, 2 void points.
Sorry, Wizard cut you off.
No worries. I was curious if the ship computer had a log of the events that led up to what I assume is madness and chaos.
Well, you can go up to the ship cockpit and get that.
Okay, how far off is that?
So, yeah, the freighter itself, let's say for our U.S. watchers, it is the size of a football field because we love using that as a metric for how big things are. So towards, I hear that sigh. So closer to the field goal is where the staircase goes. A football field, then. With football.
Yeah.
Sports ball. So there is the staircase that goes up to the cockpit region. So it's really just a short jaunt.
Okay, so it would be after we're done in here, I'll do the other thing that was in this room.
The split wire.
The splicing. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Just go ahead and just make me a tech roll.
14.
No,
Nice.
Sure.
So before he toddles off, by the way, I'm gonna make sure that my companion here is packing. I worry about him going off alone.
So you able to fix the monitors and get the feedback online. It really wasn't that badly damaged. It was more of just like a inconvenience. So you have you can pull up different cameras in the ship so you can look at the various bays. So you're able to pull up through a menu after interfacing with your friend ability that you can look at the 4 different hangars, the melting room, the engine compartment, the mess hall, the algae growing tanks, the gym, cockpit and comms, and the crew compartment.
Anyone in cockpit and comms?
Nope. Well, you look up there and you see there's like no one in the chairs. The camera itself looks like it was jostled a bit, so you're kind of getting a little of an angled view, and it takes up one of the 6 your old monitor bays.
Okay. Better question. Do we see anyone on any of the monitors?
So they're cycling between the hangar 2, the mess hall, the crew compartment, and the gym. And in those, there's nothing.
Can I see what? I want to see what's in the melting room.
So when you pan the camera to the melting room, you see that there are various chambers that are filled with that bluish ice. The pick quality is a little bit fuzzy looking at it, but you see that there are various thermal tubes that lead from the engine compartment into reservoirs for melting and separating the constituents in the ice. You don't see any people or any real signs of movement, but you see there's a lot of ice that has been stacked up here, like the operation was interrupted.
So it doesn't seem like it's anything that well, at least not that melted in the melting room. What's going on in the algae room?
So you see that there are 3 circular chambers that it's kind of hard to see what's on the surface of the tanks, but you see there's dark splotchy patterns of algae. There are tendrils of algae that look like they have like bloomed out of the tanks because probably maybe someone hasn't been tending or pruning it. And it's starting to kind of snake along the walls. You think you see either a pile of debris in the corner or something that's dark, and it's hard to see what it is.
I'm going to go over there.
Yeah, I'm going with Doc, since I can not. I don't know if I can talk to plants, but I definitely have like a rapport with them.
So
Okay.
are we now splitting the party then?
I guess so.
Okay, well, we'll do it in the order of operations given. So Wiz, so you go off by yourself and you walk down the corridor. Your footfalls reverberate almost uncomfortably loudly in this space since your chassis is heavy and it's real quiet. So you kind of get a feeling of trepidation about this whole situation. Go ahead and roll me D4.
D4. Ooh, okay. That is a 4 on my D4.
All right. Sounds good. So you climb the stairs and you access the cockpit region, and it looks like nothing is really amiss here at first glance. You don't see any damage like you do in the security system, but are your eyes meat or are they electronic?
Ooh, can I have like a Borg, one electronic, one like fleshy eye? Or
Sure.
it's like just a little colorful screen that's constantly got some kind of like Tamagotchi animation going on.
So as your ocular whirs in and out, you can see that there's been blood smeared across the panel for the main instruments. Also roll me 1d4 one more time for no suspicious, no apparent reason.
No, it's fine. It's safe. That's a 2.
Okay. Great. So there's no crew here. It's empty. So you said you're wanting to access what?
Like the ship log, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can like get an idea as to what happened.
So make me a... Oh, I feel like I keep making everyone do tech, but it could also be savvy here. Go... I guess you're interfacing the pool of the law. Well, go ahead and make me a tech or a savvy, your choice.
I'm going to go with savvy because that's an extra point. How does the 6 do me?
So there are tons and tons and tons of pages of logs. The logs have not really been sorted, and it's overwhelming. You see that there are charts and charts about ice intake and melt water and exporting and making quotas. And so far you seem bogged down and not finding anything of significance initially.
Okay. So should I check? Can I check again, or should we move on to someone else?
You can check again, but it'll be at disadvantage.
All right. Well, I'm gonna use different dice then. Oh, that's marginally better at a 9.
All right. Well, so you got a void point before for failing, and you're going to get another one since you have failed again. You're not sorting through this data. Either maybe someone has shuffled it and you're not finding what you're looking for, or it's been removed. You're not finding the significant portions of the log, and it's a little bit bewildering. So you Graz, you wanted to go to the algae rooms. So when you approach the algae rooms, closer and closer you get to it, you're getting this fungal rot smell. Like it's very much the surface of a swamp, decaying chlorophyll, and you see that there looks to be like water seeping out from underneath the door when you approach. You see that this algae room is large. When you look down the corridor, you see that it extends further down into the belly of the ship, and there's another door towards like further down, leading into the same elongated space.
What do you think, Doc? Do you want to attack from both ends or go in through the same door?
Well, I don't think we need to attack anything. I think algae, molds, fungi, slimes.
I love them all. Yeah.
They're all fantastic, fascinating creatures. One that most life form returns to in some form or fashion uh, before too long, longer for some than others. Um, if you would like to go through the other door, I won't stop you. I am here to learn alongside my current new friends.
Okay. We're gonna go in the same door together, the waterlogged one.
Okay,
Yep.
roll me d4.
Each of us or one of us?
One of you is fine.
I'm gonna
3.
let John do that bad boy.
Okay,
Oh well, great. Oh no, that was on a D4, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, great. So you open the door, and you are immediately just your face is punched in with the smell of this room. There are 3 tanks, like very wide. Like you go to one of those old terrestrial pictures you see of ancient earth distilleries, wide open sour mash kind of basins, but instead it's swamp water and a very thick scum of algae. And the first of these 3 giant wide tanks, you see that there are these tendrils of ropey green muck that are veining themselves along the walls, kind of like slime mold going in all different directions, glistening wetly in the red hazard lights. You see that a fistful of these tendrils are kind of lumped together in a corner where it seems to be kind of pulsating uncomfortably. Along the walls, the ones that aren't completely covered in these tendrils, you see various infograph charts on how to successfully farm and raise algae for nutrition and feeding the mining crews.
Mm.
You see the fans that are up in the corners? Actually, go ahead and roll me, both of you, roll me a savvy.
Okay.
16 for me.
That is a 10 for me, and my modifier on savvy is, I think, a -1. Hang on, because I'm real dumb. Yep, that's -1, so that becomes a 9.
9. So you have a 3rd void point. So Graz, do you go by Graz or do you just go by Cow? What are you going by? Or Graz?
I prefer Dr. Grazo.
Dr. Grazo. I will make sure I address you properly. So, Dr. Grazo, you see with your keen eyes that the fans are no longer spinning in this room for ventilation, and in fact look like they're encrusted with those tendrils. And the massive, dare I say, tentacles are pulsating more rhythmically now that you have stepped into this room. The far end of the chamber is not as completely covered in the algae tendrils, but you see there's a thick scum on the surface of the tanks.
So look, I've kind of I mean, I've kind of played it as though slime and mold and fungi are my particular specialty. Can I make a savvy check to see if I can discern anything about this particular algae colony?
Absolutely. Are you going to be looking at the first tank that you're closest to, full of the tendrils that are going every which way? The other two tanks don't have tendrils sticking out of them.
No, I'm going to look at the tendrily tank.
All right.
Double T.
Baby, that is a nat 20.
Nice.
So this is something's very odd and unnatural about it. When you actually start looking at the patterns that the projections are taking, they make angles. Nothing like that in nature makes hard angles. Like there is literally in front of you, one of these tendrils has a 90-degree kink in it. It's pulsating also uncomfortably like putrid intestines. And you see little almost like frond like things on the surface of it, almost like miniature like ferns or moth like antennae projecting in various places of it. The
Okay.
mass of tendrils in the corner is beginning to almost writhe and froth the longer you stand here. So the other things you get on this is you have a very distinct something is very unnatural about the algae.
I don't prefer the term unnatural. Unnatural implies that we understand all natural phenomena. Uh, if something appears unnatural, it simply means that we do not yet understand it. It hasn't yet been joined to our repertoire. I turn towards Plant Boy.
Yeah. I agree with my colleague about the nature of the natural and unnatural. I was reading my Green Thumb, like, I don't know if it's an alignment or I guess origin or something. And it says that I know everything, quote unquote, about plants and how to cultivate them. So I'm going to tap into my expertise to see if I might have some clue what's going on here.
All right.
And that's a D20
Make
with
me a savvy, yeah.
savvy. Yeah. And that is a 12, but I think that my savvy is a negative stat. Let's find out. Yep. -1. So close.
As you're looking in your reference manual and you're...
Wait a minute. I'm going to use a void point.
All right. Go ahead and you re-roll that.
Re-roll that, yeah. Oh, great. A nat 1.
Oh no, bud.
Fantastic.
Get a new dice generator.
So
No.
this is fantastic.
We get to go to that fun table.
Roll me 1d6.
Okay. Can do. Let's see. And that's a 2.
Oh, great. So how void corruption works is that after you have spent your void point and you've gotten an advantage on a roll, if you roll 1d6 and you roll lower than your current amount of void points, you get to roll on that table. So go ahead and roll me 1d20.
This is going to be fun. I enjoyed this table very much. And that's another nat 1. And I'm going to go ahead and find another dice generator real quick.
All right. Great. So roll me a body check.
Okay, that's a D20, right?
That is correct.
You mother scratcher. Hang
Is it a
on.
1?
No. I'm just having technical difficulties. There we go.
Yeah, they're called ones.
That's a nat 20 this time. But that doesn't matter because it's the magic table. Although I didn't read all the way down to 20.
So, this is going to be interesting. All right. So you are standing here contemplating about what's happening, and thinking about the slime when you start to feel an itch in the back of your mind. You're feeling a presence kind of building behind your eyeballs, and you really can't figure out what's happening. It's almost like a migraine, but more towards the center of your brain, and your thoughts are getting a little bit funky. We'll see how that plays out. So, Wiz, you're still up in the cockpit, and
Yes. And?
and you start to hear the sounds of your compatriots downstairs scream because, as Dr. Grazzo, you've been staring at this tentacles. The mass of them in the corner suddenly break free, and you see kind of unfolding out of them are two half desiccated, but also half unnaturally wet and bloated corpses of presumably servicemen at one point get pulled up like broken marionettes on very thin tendrils of algae, and you hear like bones and sinew snapping as these people start to amble towards you in a very broken, jerky way, silently, this mouths gaping, and all you're hearing is like this kind of wet puffing sound.
Kind of like
Praise Nurgle.
1990s band. What were they? Geez, the Meat Puppets.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
So, in this game, the creatures that begin a hostile action get to go first. So these poor former people, let's call them, begin to amble directly towards you. One of them, you see that his arm, his gender is not even relevant, is broken and almost looks like a bony stump is just ambling towards you, closing towards you first, Dr. Grazzo. He lashes out with his bony stump, and your current damage, your current DR is what? 11?
My DR is 11. Wait,
All right. What?
no, my DR should be 14 then. Oh, it's not my bonus, it's my score. Okay, sorry.
All right. So,
That does make sense.
Is that
It,
what is my DR? I don't know.
if
that
my
I found that
DR
on here.
is 12
My
plus
D-
my dexterity, shouldn't my DR be 14?
probably so. It could have been part of the transferring of data wrong. So you can go ahead and correct that. So this meat puppet, we'll call it, that's a great term, slashes out at you, and you see that as it's closer that the algae tendrils have this like insinuated itself in various places of the body grotesquely, almost in places supplementing ligaments and various things, and it smells of rot, and it is just a putrid thing. One of the other one stumbles towards you unnaturally fast, plant boy, and you see what the horrors of truly being a plant boy is as it lunges out you
Nice.
with these wet, bloated arms.
Excellent.
And your current DR is... Let me check.
'Cause I've got a strength modifier of -1.
Ah, that's not the same. So your defense rating is 13. So it lashes out at you, and it slams you to the ground, and it begins to throttle you with its hands and tendrils. It's kind of hard to see everything happening to you all at once. But it slams you down for 2 points of damage as you feel the back of your skull crack loudly.
God, that's like almost my ass right there. Hang on a second. That's funny. Yeah, I've found that while getting strangled, it's difficult to focus on anything else.
So, Wiz,
Yeah.
you were hearing the sounds of struggle and perhaps the two of you are screaming. I'm assuming
I'm
Wiz is
laughing.
screaming.
I'm
Dr. Grosso
screaming
is
very
cackling.
shrilly.
You hear one scream, one inappropriate, perhaps maniacal laughter, and the sounds of struggles coming from below you.
Okay, couple things. One, we reconnected the cameras in the other room, but do they have access to those on the bridge?
Ooh, good question.
That's a very good question. I would assume that there is some type of panel that would give you that. Yes.
Okay, so then we can assume that I see what's going on. Second question I have, are there security guns that I could get control of being on the bridge, like the tactical officer station, Lieutenant Worf from Next Gen?
I like that idea. Go ahead and make me a savvy roll to see if you can find that in a pinch.
You did bad last time. I'm going with you. Haven't done me wrong yet. You did me bad. You hurt me deep.
Oh no.
So you open up the hatch where there'd be some type of service pistol or something in case of emergency, and it's empty. And in fact, there's a blood, like an old dried blood stain around the access hatch of where that gun should have been.
Okay, I was more thinking like a control station, but either way, it's a failure. Like I was thinking like automated, like security.
Oh, I see what
turrets.
you're saying. Like turrets.
But
This
yeah,
does
sorry.
this does not seem to have anything like that in the interior.
Okay, hence my 2 that I rolled.
Word to the wise, though. He said that the weapons case in the security room was mostly empty. I didn't hear him say it was entirely empty.
That is correct.
So that was that my action for this round, or do I have like a move, or
I'll let you do that previously because that seemed like a pretty fast action. So you can go ahead and have a full round action, and then we'll snap back and go after this. We'll do a round robin of initiative. Normally, for people that are listening to this, there is a different system where once one individual goes, they pick which side has next action, and then it reverses until that final person finishes the round. Then they pick who goes first at the start of next round to kind of give that crew is working together to tactily handle a situation. Online, since we have different setup, we just do round robin to make sure we don't halt action. So we'll go ahead with you now. Wiz, since you have been able to watch us on the cameras, then we'll top of the initiative with then Dr. Grazo, followed by Plant Boy, and then the real Plant Boys. The fungi gals.
Or just the fun guys, you know.
Then gal, yeah. All
Fun
right.
gals.
So what are you thinking, Wiz?
I have 2 things in mind. 1, I should run down there to help. 2, I try to reroute the heating unit from the melt room to the tanks, melting the algae creature.
Ooh.
So
Creative
you can
thinking.
affect some of the environmental controls. The main heating element for the melting room is actually the engine, so using some of the overheat to melt the ice to not reduce that. But if you would know from looking at the machinery that there are environmental panels probably somewhere in that algae room that you could use to affect the environmental conditions. Or perhaps from the security system, there might be a fire suppression system that you can trigger.
Okay, so fire suppression. We want to water the algae.
And I
might
tell
not
you
be
the
water.
options. I don't tell you if they're good options.
That's right.
Okay.
They are.
All right, then I guess my action would be to try to make my way to them as quickly as possible while I should have really just snatched a thing when I was in the other room with them. But I didn't say I did it, so I didn't. So
Well, don't forget, whatever actions you're taking, I believe you have 2 void points.
that
Right?
okay.
At
Yes, I
least.
do. I have the 2 written down. I don't fully remember what void points.
Void points, you
they
can burn
re-roll.
them. You have burned them to get advantage on a roll. If you fail while getting advantage, then you start to risk getting void corruption, like something is happening to one of your crewmates. I don't know who. We don't know what's
Right.
happening.
Okay, so it's just giving yourself advantage.
Correct.
I guess I just need to be in a place where I feel like I can do something effective, and it doesn't seem like that place is on the bridge.
If you would like to delay your action, if you'd like to think further about it.
Oh, yeah, I'll think, but it seems like I'm just going to wind up having to race down there. So,
Is the security room on the way to the algae tanks?
It's on the opposite side
Oh, okay,
of
never mind. Yeah,
of the transverse aspect.
right. Okay.
Or I guess the width. All right, so you're just running down to the algae room? Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah, I mean, I've got a air pistol and a dagger-esque item.
All right.
So,
So you charge down the stairs and into the algae room. You see this kind of macabre scene where an undead-ish thing has pinned Plant Boy to the floor and is beating his skull against the metal grating floor. And Dr. Grazzo is looking at everything and having a hearty belly laugh. If you want to do a half, do you want to say anything when you burst into the room? Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and use that for your action.
I burst in and, yeah, we need to help him now.
All right, Dr. Grazzo,
Grazzo.
you have found the punchline in all of this. What is your
I reach
action
into
now?
my coat and fling forward the phosphorus spores I collected on our ship. Meet your siblings, friends! And then I turn and I dart past Wiz.
Great.
So you have
Very helpful.
completely covered the first of these plant creatures, fungal creatures, in bright, brilliant phosphorescent spores. So it glows up and puts a lot of light in this room, oddly enough. So you can actually see the horror of this thing, like skin pulling back on its teeth. Looks like several are missing from blunt trauma. There is a algae snake that has gone through both of its eye sockets. It's pretty horrible. It looks like some limbs have like shriveled up from being sucked dry, and other ones are just getting ready to burst with corruption. It's
Thanks
pretty
for the
horrible.
close-up, Dr. Grosso. That's super
It
helpful.
doesn't seem to have stopped it at all, but it is
No,
like
but
a zombie
but when
disco.
when I wake up next time, I'll be fascinated to see the results.
See what's in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or science.
Assuming
So-
you do wake up again.
All right, so you bolt out of the room, or you going further in the room away from the tank?
No, I push past Wiz as I bolt out of the room.
All right.
Motherfucker.
So, Plant Boy, you are face to face with this thing, and the back of your head is bleeding profusely.
I have a question about ranged weapons and whether
Yes.
A, I can use them at point blank range, and
Yeah.
B, if there's like a point blank advantage modifier.
That is a great thing. So you do have the ability to do a desperate attack that a risky attack that is a normal attack roll, but you get to do an extra damage die if you hit. But for you, it'd be very bad if you missed. So I don't believe that there is any specific bonus by being point blank. I will say, since
hell.
you're so close to this thing, you can't really miss. I will give you a +2 bonus because you're right next to it. How about that?
Okay. That sounds good. Let's whip out my Civil War era Legionnaire
Now,
shotgun.
don't forget that you still have void points.
I do. I am well aware. I can only burn those for a reroll, right? Though.
No, you use it to. I think really you're supposed to use it before you roll, but I think that you could probably use it either way.
Yeah, I'll burn both of the points I have left for advantage in this because my ass is on the line here, and it
Are
looks
you
like
doing it as a risky or as a normal attack?
just a normal one. With the
Okay.
way the dice have been treating me, I don't like the idea of getting my own face blown off. So that's 1d20 plus 3 plus
Your
2.
tech. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, hang on one second.
Well, I mean, I'm giving you that +2 bonus because you're firing a shotgun at a target that's like right in front of you. That seems appropriate.
It does. A
So that would
shotgun
be for
is
you.
best when
I noticed
you're.
you had a +3 already, so technically that would be 1d20 plus 5. So
Yeah,
you
that's
messed
what I
this up,
thought.
then you really have pissed off Grandfather Nurgle.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been making my sacrifices the way I should, so we'll see what happens. Are you fucking kidding me?
Fog
That's
Wizard.
that's a nat 1. Um,
Amazing.
This is statistically impossible.
I know. I will.
You probably need to use a different app or maybe use glow in the dark, large dice or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just cursed.
Or maybe I'm
I
just
mean,
cursed.
technically it
It's
could.
not every roll I've made has been a 1 though, is the fucked up thing.
I know
there's
it does
too
that. It
many.
does that to give you hope.
Like the second
So-
time I rolled it, for example, it gave me a 17. So
All right, so
um, No, I that's a legitimate nat 1.
But I thought you
and,
said you used a void point, so
I
you'd be rolling
did.
it
I was gonna
twice.
burn. Yeah. So can I re-roll then? Is that what that
Yeah.
means?
So when you
Okay,
void point, you're
then-
getting advantage, so you're rolling twice and taking the best roll.
Okay, perfect. The second
Yeah,
roll.
just like that. They kind of like the
Gotcha.
advantage disadvantages has really kind of gone across almost all systems, which I think is a good thing.
Right.
I agree,
Yeah.
but I don't think Charles was part of the D&D. I didn't play the D&D that introduced advantage, so that vernacular was not introduced to him until fairly recently.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. Yeah.
So that's a nat 17 plus 5 is 22.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I'm assuming.
So good thing that you burnt a void point there.
Yes.
So you fire point blank, so that is 2d4 damage.
Okay, one moment. And that's a 3 plus a 2 for 5 total.
So you, let's see how this works out. So you point your shotgun into its chest? Question mark, and you blow out its interior and splatter the walls with a mixture of flesh and plant matter. And that
Yes.
stench of rotten bog meat just intensifies in here. It makes a gurgling wheeze sound as like concentrated algae or chlorophyll just like bubbles down its chin. And it seems to have gone limp like a rag doll. The tentacles or the tendrils that were holding it thrash wildly and slurp back into the tank.
Nice.
Slurp. I love it.
One down.
After the tentacles slurp into the tank, the emergency red lights go off, and the ship lights, normal interior ship lights, go on.
Weird.
You
Anyone
hear
have any thoughts on
since Dr. Grauser, you run out into the corridor, you hear the sounds of door locks unlocking in the back of the ship. You hear a series of like piston like pop sounds as
Oh
a
shit.
series of doors have unlocked.
I hope they don't kill the spores.
All right. So the immediate, well, I was going to say, hold up, I forgot. I was about to say the immediate threat's ended, but now you've got a glowing zombie-like thing. So it rushes towards the next standing target, which would be Wiz. So you see this glowing, shambling marionette thing ambling towards you menacingly.
Man, cool
And-
shit never happens to me.
So your DR right now, Wiz, is
10.
10. Oh, well, You're fucked too.
Yeah,
So
well,
this thing
pretty.
has this sharp bone arm thing, like it's just shattered arm, bone shank that's glowing neon yellow and slashes down towards you. And for 3 points of damage, it just rips
Oh
you
shit!
across your chassis.
Is that
Oh,
like your
no.
whole HP?
No, yours is 4.
Yeah, because I started with 3 and I'm down to 1, so we're both.
I got a hit
limping.
point. I'm glad I came down here to help.
We're the 1 hit point twins at this point. You know what? I think after we kill this zombie thing, we should go fucking kill Dr. Grazo.
I agree.
So, all right. Top of the initiative we're going to be doing with Wiz. So it's going to be Wiz, then it's going to be Dr. Grazo, and then Plant Boy. So Wiz,
All right. I've
you
got
just slashed pretty badly.
Yeah, I've got the front man for the meat puppets right up in my business. Let's see. D20 -1 to attack.
So with your vacuum pistol, I realized that I didn't.
Yeah.
It would be 1d20 plus 1 to attack with your vacuum pistol. Now,
So
you
it's
can use a void point if you want to get.
What is a
advantage.
vacuum pistol? That sounds cool.
It sounds
I-
nasty.
Yeah. Like, does
normal
it shoot
things.
balls of vacuum or?
I would imagine it's like a pistol where like it shoots a projectile out, but it's vacuum, so it pulls things in really quick.
In nature?
Yes.
So the gunshot wound is like coming
Yeah,
out of you.
Yeah, it just rips a hole. That's my guess.
It's like taking the shot vac and like putting it on a nipple, getting caught in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or your
I've been
uncle's
there.
left testicle. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, sure. I'll go ahead and use a void point to try and suck
Alright.
the life out of the dead. That is a 16 to give it a void job.
So you fire point blank, and it makes that odd, like whoomp sound as it discharges the projectile. So that is a 1d6 damage.
Did I
As
burn
it
a void
charges
point?
the injectile.
Yeah. About 3 use. Okay, so I rolled a 3. Yeah. Don't
So
see any of the
you-
modifiers.
So you blast a huge hole through its shoulder. You see it like it kind of slurp back up for where you had fired it with your vacuum pistol. Probably they mean this that you fire this pistol in a vacuum, but I like this concept of a vacuum projectile, like a mini like black hole. So it pops the shoulder out of position as it slurps itself tight.
Either
Oh.
you explain what you mean in your book, or we get to decide what you meant.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. We add our own flavor text, and the flavor is always dank.
Look, how many other podcasts have played this game?
So
This is now canon.
Yeah.
It-
yeah.
it damages it significantly, but it is still propped up by that throbbing algae tendril, and it's still very in more jerky motions. It still ambles towards you, but it looks very limp. So, Dr. Grazo, you are in the hallway. You've heard all those doors kind of pop open, and the ship kind of thrums a bit as it kind of comes back to life a bit. It's still quiet beyond the sound of all of the
Gunshots,
things kind
and
of thrumming.
shrieking, and yeah.
As I move, I think about my dear friends Plant Bee and Waz, and how I've known them for such a storied long time of 3 days. And and I hope in my heart that they are okay, that they are unharmed, at peace, but also that they didn't kill my experiment, and that if they are to die and rot here, that they join the experiment and live on that way as I continue to run my ass towards the exit.
So as
I would
you are
like-
running, sorry, go ahead.
I would like Wiz to just yell out, "I changed the codes to the ship." Whether or not he did or not,
Yeah.
he
I have the
yells
keys
it.
in my pockets.
Yeah.
So, as you are running towards the exit, you see that there are various monitor screens that were previously inactive with the minimal power draw that have crackled to life. And you see that there is text beginning to form across the screens, kind of scrolling across all of the different screens that are popping up along the interior, and they are beckoning you to go to hangar number 4.
Dang, that's crazy. Anyway, I'm talking towards the end now.
Hey,
You know, yeah, okay. I'll charge towards hangar number 4. My curiosity is stronger than my fear, and honestly, I'm not afraid of the zombies. I just want to see what happens with them in 100 years' time.
Sure.
When
Science.
they glow. All
When
of
they
them.
glow.
It's like
All
a
of
dollar
them,
bill
yeah.
and cocaine. After long enough, they all have it on them.
And 2 of them will be Wiz and Fanboy.
Oh.
I'm
so
not the first Wiz. Let's be honest. I'm a program.
That's true. Yeah, you're an incarnated piece of software, self-aware software.
I could
That's
probably
cool.
get your program. I could probably
That's
in
all any
100
of
years
us
when I
are,
come back,
really.
I could rescue your programming, and we could talk about what happened. We'll
Yeah.
talk it out over
Probably
Plant
just have
Boy's
After
over Plant Boy's
is
glowing
dead, yeah.
corpse.
After Plant
So-
Boy's glowing bones at that point.
So you run down to outside hangar number 4, and you see that towards the back end of the ship, like there is blood that is dried and is just splattered on various surfaces. Also, green matter and various craters from various projectiles around the wall, and you see the hangar controls for hangar number 4. The screen above it is saying, it's kind of scrolling, is kind of very glitchy text. Need your help, repairs. Need your help, repairs.
Oh, that's a shame. That's crazy. I don't do tech.
Yep. And you left anybody who does.
But you
How'd
know what
you-
I have? You know what I have?
What?
I have technology back in my ship that I can use to fix you.
Are you saying that?
Yes.
It just says open the door.
Oh no. No, I'm not
So-
that curious.
Going back, so Plant Boy, you, I'm assuming, get off the ground, and you're right next to this glowing corpse thing. Algae is splattered across. You also have that crushed lightning bug, phosphorescent mold all over you as well from the splatter effect.
I don't feel as out of place in that environment as you might suspect, being a green thumb punk. But yeah, you know what? Is the one that is menacing Wiz close enough to me that I can melee it?
Oh
Or
yeah,
am I
you
still
could. I mean,
using-
it's right next to you, basically. At
Okay,
this
yeah.
point.
Yeah, well, guess what? I'm going to fire up the good old fusion welder. And let's see, 1d20 minus 1 attack. Okay. Yeah, all right. So 1d20 with a -1 modifier for strength. And that would be a 19.
Oh,
Minus 1 is an 18, and then I think it's 1d4. No, 2d4 for damage, right?
for you, melee weapons are almost all 1d4, so it's just 1d4 for you.
Okay, cool. No worries. And that would be a 1. Fantastic.
Which is great because they had 1 hit point. So
Fuck
you
yes. Yeah.
slash through the tendril that was going through the back of its head, holding it up, and you cut it. And very silently, almost like you think this thing should be shrieking loudly, like in those Pict films you've seen, but it just thrashes a bit and it also just recoils back into the algae pit. And it doesn't stir. The body just slumps to the ground like a wet sack of half rotten, half desiccated potatoes.
And as I'm wielding my my welder, I'm like, I'm the real plant boy.
So. All right. So your active threats have subsided, but you're not sure where Dr. Grazo has gone.
Dead, just not yet.
Dr. Grazo, the screen above you now says, and again, that kind of very glitchy font, I know where the wormhole leads.
Ooh.
Say less. I open the door.
So there's almost like a slightly depressurizing hiss, and you're hit with some more cold air from inside the hangar.
Please be me from the future. Please be me from the future.
It's a large hangar that can handle a couple of different ships of various sizes, and you see that there is a very worn, very almost Baroque style small spacecraft. Like you would pilot maybe a crew of 2 to 4, maybe 6 people, very like small interplanetary style ship. You see that there is a thick layer of meltwater across this whole room, and so this room also hits you with that ammonia scent. You see that there are thick blorps of algae that are kind of heaped up in various places, and shattered crewmen, some completely organic and or normal, and some that are algae infected, as if a great struggle had happened here. And a screen on the wall says, repairs needed to thrusters. Assist.
Okay. Okay. I will shut the door behind me and go check out those thrusters. See what the damage is.
It means the thrusters on that small craft.
Yes. No.
Oh, sorry, behind you. Got you. All right. So, what are the other two of you doing? You've heard footfalls run down the corridor, and you don't see where Dr. Grasso has run off to.
So I have a couple of questions about my inventory again.
Fire.
I've got some Xenos jerky, which sounds delicious. Does that restore hit points?
It is a flavor text item.
Ah, okay. Never mind then. And my crazy degreaser spray that can help me stay up for 4 days at a time. Does it provide any other advantage than just not having to sleep?
Yes, but if you want a flavor text, because we're getting kind of close to our time,
happy
to consider that. Runs its risk of addiction, which we won't need really to worry about right now. But
can it restore my hit points?
No, you're treated just like an organic.
Yeah,
as a joke.
I know you are, but I was wanting to be literal just because you are kind of this Android-y kind of thing.
Well, if we're getting close to time, this actually feels like a pretty good natural stopping point.
Yeah, we just
Adversaries,
met
You don't
this guy.
even you don't even know what it wants.
Yeah, but we also only have 7 minutes, and I'm about to
Yeah.
be attacked by monsters.
Yeah.
Well, you ditched us. We barely know you.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
you should rescue me. What I'm saying is we're not going to get to like the next chunk of
Yeah.
cool stuff.
And
Right, yeah.
if Plant Boy catches up with you, then you're going to experience that. What did I call it? Not gross dismemberment, but disgusting dismemberment.
I think if you catch up to me, you're going to experience what it's like to travel through a wormhole.
Which sounds dope. So
It
win-win.
is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's where we call it then.
Unfortunate. I wanted to see if
yeah.
you'd figure out exactly what was happening here.
Well, obviously the ship was frozen in ice, and there was something on board that was a problem. Thus, the algae getting out of control. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't really give too much away because this module is included.
This is not included. This was something.
Oh, this is a
it was
third
created from
party.
an itch jam, right?
Okay, so is the frozen ship from the 1600s Europe?
No,
Sorry, you said that.
Yeah, Baroque. I heard that.
I mean, like the style is very ornate,
It
but
works
yes,
either way as an adjective.
there is an
Yeah,
inboard
yeah.
harpsichord, in the
Smart
rear.
ass.
Excellent.
Cool. I'd love to fly something using like a harpsichord. That'd be pretty dope.
Just a theremin. Just have to
I'm
keep your
moving
hand a
us.
certain
I'm moving
distance.
us back into our conversational
Okay.
windows.
Game screen exited.
Yes.
We wash
game
our
screen
hands
Exited.
of Dr. Grosso.
Oh no! This is a reappearing character.
I love it, man.
Every week we're going to see how I can abandon you guys.
Oh, joy!
Until
Just like
John
you-
feels
ju-
he has extracted his vengeance for whatever we did to make him mad.
I
Just like
always
I
wa-
did last week when y'all started talking about wrestling in chat.
I wanted
I'm
to know more
sorry.
about your background with your 2 wedding rings.
That's actually very simple. The
Mormon.
2 wedding rings I have, my wife and I used to be a husband-wife research team, and her stasis chamber failed, and
that's
so I
kinda
woke up to
tragic.
her not having made it to the next
Damn,
century
that's
with
real
me.
tragic. Shit.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
It's part of the reason like he doesn't actually care if he lives or dies, and like everyone else's
Well,
life
there's
is just
no
like
fun in
all life is
dismembering a
meaningless.
bed.
So screw it.
Yeah. That you found the comfort of nihilism is what that is. Well, that was Death in Space. What was the Itch Jam module called?
So the module is called Vessel 314, and that was by Martin Stackelberg.
Excellent. Yeah. So deathinspace.com, or you can go to the Free League Publishing site to pick that up. The link to the main site is in any of our social posts about this, and I'm sure we'll throw it in the show notes or something. And our thanks to the game creators. This was a hell of a lot of fun. I love a grungy future. It's
So
like one of
this
the
is-
things I love about good Star Wars movies is that like
One thing at the beginning I mentioned this wasn't a Mork Borg product. However, it is a Stockholm Cartel product,
Yes.
and the Mork Borg team did work on this, which is why it feels like Mork Borg in space.
Yeah.
It's a very cool game, very beautiful game and setting. I dig it. Like I said, Free League has yet to misstep for me. So
You know, in a way, this setting, because it's really not that supernatural, it's really not that Xenos oriented. It's almost as if the universe from like See You Space Cowboy, it goes towards this inevitable collapse, and it's just like that blue collar grunt. Everyone is, should be a member of like a space guild or a kind of like the freighters from Mothership, Teamsters.
Hell
What I'm
yeah.
trying to say, Teamster.
Yeah.
it's a more
Unionize.
grungy take on essentially the alien universe.
Yeah.
Because the xenomorphs are not the worst thing about, like, they're the most deadly thing, but the worst thing about Alien is the corporation, like the
Yes.
corporate greed
Yep.
crushing everything into like utility or dead.
Or
That
is it
is-
the
that's
Wayland Corporation? I
The
always
Wayland
get-
Yutani Corporation is the biggest,
That's right.
but there are several. I have
Yeah.
encyclopedia knowledge now because I've read 3 of their core books.
Ha! Cool. I always get Wayland mixed up with Tyrell from
Smithers.
that too. Yeah, no, Tyrell from the Blade Runner series of
Mhm.
products. Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, I just edited a Blade Runner encyclopedia, and
Oh shit.
yeah, so I learned a whole lot that I didn't know because I've only read "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep" and watched the first movie, and did not realize there is a lot more lore.
Oh hell
So-
yeah, yeah. They built it up.
So speaking of like reference books for things that don't exist, fairly recently, Madness Heart Press and Madness Heart Games is a subsidiary, an imprint of Madness Heart Press. s- Launched a new series called Madness Heart Life, which is a series of horror reference books, or like not like here's everything you
Pseudo
didn't know about
reference
Chucky,
books. Yeah,
but
yeah.
like
They're
actual
pseudo
reference books
references,
that
yeah.
are parody / horror tinted.
Mhm.
The first release is the Nephalon University course catalog for 2022-2023, which is an Eldritch Occult University located in beautiful, crisp Texas.
Which lives up
Um,
to its name.
Which, if you've read the Book of Zeb series, you know that the main character hails from Crisp, and it is not a wonderful place to hail from or be. The next book that's coming out is the Madness Heart Press Employee Handbook, of which Charles over there.
Correct.
What section did you write again, Charles?
Disciplinary procedures.
Disciplinary procedures. That's right.
So I got to read Foucault and Desaad. You guys will love it.
That has people like Max Booth,
That's a
Jeff
bad thing.
Strand, Lemons Clemens,
Yeah.
Charles Bernard, Doug Ford, Andrew Hilbert.
All stars.
Just like it's a it's a kind of a crazy lineup for the TOC. But that will be coming soon, and then we're going to be doing other things. Michael Allen Rose has pitched a book on a Toastmasters book for the series, which, whoo boy.
Do I get to be an adjunct faculty? Because I've
Yeah.
literally been an adjunct faculty
I-
before.
We can talk offline because one of our next projects is writing
Yeah.
course textbooks
Which I want to
for some of the courses in the Nephalon
yeah.
University course catalog.
Yeah.
I've edited textbooks before.
Well, you could
That's
write
awesome.
you could write a fake
I'm
one.
jealous.
It's going to be fun.
While we're doing
anyway-
plugs, let me
Yes.
just say 2 things real quick. One, if you would like to see Madness Heart Games' glorious No Bigots Allowed
No bigots
shirt
allowed. Yeah.
with art by Old Raging Barbarian,
Mhm.
that is available at tinyurl.com/MHGNBA, all caps, as in Madness Heart Games, No Bigots Allowed.
Mhm.
And then also, my book came out, Volume 1 of Arcanum. Thank you. Initiation, with artwork by Astrid K. Mickelson, who goes by Offenmoser on Instagram. And you can pick that up at tinyurl.com/Arcanum Roman numeral 1. So that's capital A, Arcanum, capital I.
Congratulations on that,
And
Charles.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great. And that's out through Raventail. So shouts to them. And yeah, that's what I got to say.
If you're looking for any of us, if you wanted to check out Charles Patchkey's amazing food and stuff on Instagram, if you want to see all the services Ian Servas offers as far as like editing and development,
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
and sexual.
And
If you want to find Charles's blog and books and all that, if you want to find my books, if you want to find Madness Heart Press, Madness Heart Games, I Got It Tried, if you want to find our YouTube, if you want to find us, go to onemoncast.com. It has links to all of our shit. It also has a blog that we are At the moment, I'm writing reviews of games, including
I've got
Mork Borg
one that'll be
games.
up on Friday.
And I'm dragging these other guys into doing more content for that blog. So just all gaming and nerd stuff related. It's a fun time. OneMonCast.com.
Come be our friend.
Come be our friends,
Or
though.
else.
Smack that subscribe button, throw us a like.
Click
do the
that bell. Click that
Do the
subscribe button.
thing. Whistle,
Whatever.
hit the slide, I don't know.
Look,
Think
I
of
pulled
us
up
late at
Urban
night.
Dictionary. I looked everything up on Urban Dictionary, and I'm confused and lost and scared, but very aroused. Friends, family, I want to thank you all for joining us on this consensual journey that we call Wandering Monster. I have been John Baldisberger.
I've been Charles R. Bernard.
Jens Loss.
Wiz.
We will be back next week. Until then, stay safe, but stay scared.
I changed the